Good
Morning, everyone. This is the July 17th, 2024 meeting of the Albany Regional Board of Review. This hearing is being held via video conference call WebEx at the following location: New York State Department of State, 1 Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, conference room 505, Albany, New York, 12231. The time is now 9:04 and this hearing is officially open. The board members are Laura Ryder to my right, Jared Berenger to my right, and Jackie Coombs to my left. And my name is Andy Ellis, acting chairman. And from the Department of State is Dan Farley. We will now hear the scheduled petitions. When you speak, please address the board and give your name, title, and legal address so that our court reporter can have all the information requested. We may have to stop from time to time to consult with our technical staff. In making comments to the board, please provide a descriptive narrative on the matters referring to your exhibits to enable the court reporter to enter these into the record. We have 4 hearings today, and our first hearing is in the matter of petition 2024-021, and the petitioner is Byron, excuse me if I'm pronouncing it wrong, Arias Salazar.
That's correct.
Okay. And we'll go into our petition, the nature of the grievance and relief sought. The petition pertains to existing building containing an R2 occupancy, 3 stories in height, of type 5B, wood framed unprotected construction located at 528 Lang Street, City of Schenectady, County of Schenectady, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceiling, which states that in every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar for the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retardant or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. So at this point, I ask the petitioner to state their case and please state your name and legal address for the court reporter.
Byron Arias, 121 Hum Road, Walker, New York, 12589.
So go ahead and please state your case. Can you give us a little description on the building?
Yes. The thing is, they want to do a Chirac down in the basement, but this is an old building and all kind of pike. It's out of the walls. It's over the wood, so it's technically to do Chirac, you gotta break everything down. It's hard, It's it can do it. Because it's a big pie, all pies, it's over the wood. So if you put a sheetrock, technically you gotta break so many things there. I'll send you a pictures also. That way you can see it, how it looks like. And also the basement has the door, it's like for the fire, it closes itself. If something happened, the door closes by himself. So
Yeah, I'd like to open it up to the board for questions.
What type of fire alarm system's in there? Is it interconnected?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
The smoke smoke detectors, are they interconnected systems?
Yes,
So-
it's also use a loose power. Yes, all detector is connected with the electricity, so they all work together from the bottom to the end to the last building to the last floor.
So if something were to occur in the basement, all levels would be notified.
Everything. Yeah, it's in each floor has one connected to the down to the bottom. So something happen, all go on.
Yep.
Mhm.
What, what about the apartment doors? Are they self-closing?
Yes,
You said that the basement stairs are self-closing.
yes. They got the same
Are
the
the
system.
apartment doors in the hallways self-closing?
Yeah, they got the kind of thing that this if you open it, they close it inside.
Okay.
Hmm.
What apartments share doors? Because the first floor, that door goes right outside. That doesn't connect to any other hallways, right? And then the second and third floor have a stairway up to them and they share that stairway?
Yeah, it doesn't share because it's down the bottom, but it got its own door. Basement has its own door, so technically it doesn't share with anybody.
Basement.
Basement. So the basement opens directly to the outside?
No, you go into hallway, you go up and you go in hallway and then you go out. And the hallway is the door behind is the first floor
Stairway.
and beside is the to the basement.
Is there, this is Laura from the board, is there a rear stair in this building as well?
I'm sorry?
Is there a rear stair as well as a front stair? Are there two sets of stairs?
Uh, to yeah, 'cause it got two stairs, both sides, front and back.
And back, okay, and is the door to the basement in the front stairwell or the back stairwell?
Back stair.
And is that locked? Do the tenants have access to that basement or only you have access?
They have access to.
And this is Laura again, is the basement door fire rated in that, like, what is the construction of the basement door?
It's like the kind of door like metal ones. Like I know they usually put that for the fire because it's metal, so it's and they got the little system they close. So if something happen, that close and don't let the fire go out. So that's what they all they told me that's what it is.
Is the frame around it metal also? Or is that a wood
Yes.
frame?
It's frame. It's a metal frame.
You didn't happen to notice, usually if a door is fire rated, there's a little label on the edge of the door near the hinges. You can happen to notice if it's a labeled door.
I don't know what is the.
We don't know.
It's on that receipt. This is a full store.
This is Andy from the board. I noticed in the one picture that you have 3 smoke detectors together. Is that down in the basement?
Yes.
Can you
That's all for the.
explain that?
That's for the each floor on top it. So those if something happen in the basement, those connected with the 1 and 2 and 3 floors.
Door goes to the basement, so it's each of three separate circuits.
Right.
This is Andy from the board. So if the smoke alarm goes off in one of the units, do they all go off in the entire building?
Yes. Because they told if something happened in the basement, of course, because everybody have to come out. You know.
This is
So that's
Jared
what
from the board. So what about if there was a fire in the first floor? Are they all interconnected? It will sound everyone? In the
Yes,
second and
it's,
third floor?
yeah, protected because it's one in the hallway. It's also one in the hallway who connect to all the way to like the three, actually 4 lines down the basement, first, second, and third floor. So all gonna go up and gonna go on together because they're gonna detect something.
I have no further questions. Anybody else?
I'm sure you have a complete understanding of the system. So you said there's a detection in the hallways, but I think what Jared was asking is if there was a fire in the first floor apartment and so the smoke detector was, notifying the first floor apartment, the alarm was going off, would the alarms go off elsewhere in the building too?
Was because they are saying because they set it up like at the one line together. So technically it's like a one house. It's technically you make like that, one house. If you got fire in somewhere, all gonna go on. Everything's gonna go on. And any place that you have fire, all alarms is gonna go on.
Okay.
They are connected.
Then why do you need 3 in the basement? To me, it sounds like if you have 3 smoke detectors in the basement, we've seen this before, usually it's like 1 smoke detector is connected to the first floor apartment, 1 is connected to the second floor, and the third one's connected to the third floor apartment. But if the basement detector doesn't go off, or only one of them goes off, which could happen even though they're right next to each other, one detector could go off, but the other couldn't. And so, if the alarms truly are not connected, then only the detectors that are activated in the basement would activate those apartments, right? So I guess that's what we're just trying to make sure that if everything is truly all interconnected, there shouldn't be a need for 3 detectors down there, right? That 3 detectors implies that there's 3 separate systems. So can you shed any light on that?
So I don't know. The only thing I know, if you got little small something there is like everything's go on right away. It's like you got noise everywhere. But it start of course when in the place that you get fire start first and then everything's go on because
So, yeah, let's take a look at categories.
Um, Do we have a building code official on the call?
hello?
Robert Osley is there today.
Do we have any comments from the building code official?
No.
Hi, this is Robert with Schenectady. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hmm.
Sorry.
Robert.
Good morning. How are you? I don't think this property was mine, but what's the question?
I just wanted to know if you had any comments about this case.
I don't think I'm the building official for this
Okay,
property.
no problem.
Sorry.
That's all right. So, At this point, the board is going to go into deliberation and we ask to be off the record. For the petition number 2024-0201, upon the application of Baron Arias Salazar and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noted hearing before the Capital Region Albany Board of Review, this hearing was held via video conference call, WebEx at the following location: 1 Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, Conference Room 505, Albany, New York, on July 17th, 2024. And upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. Nature of the grievance and relief sought. The petition pertains to an existing building containing an R2 occupancy, 3 stories in height, of type 5B wood framed unprotected construction located at 528 Lang Street, City of Schenectady, County of Schenectady, State of New York. The relief requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. Petitioner requests relief from that the fire retarded ceiling or sprinkler system be provided in the cellar of the dwelling. Finding of the facts. Number 1, that the building, the subject of the petition, is properly classified under Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Law of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 433, as a multiple dwelling. The subject building is approximately 2,644 square feet in gross area, was originally constructed around 1930, and contains 3 dwelling units. The subject building, number 3, the subject building is required to conform to the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 25, and that it existed on July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling after July 1st, 1952, and is not a hotel or similar dwelling subject to Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. Number 4, the Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law requires in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, this cellar, the ceiling of the cellar or the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. Number 5, the lowest story cellar ceiling in this multiple family dwelling is not enclosed with fire retarded material and does not contain a sprinkler system. A fire in the cellar could easily spread throughout the building before it is noticed. There is a mechanical system piping and electrical wiring along the ceiling of this unoccupied cellar, which would make installing a fire retardant ceiling very difficult. Number 6, as an alternative to compliance with Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law, the applicant has stated they have installed a hardwired interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide detection alarm system interconnected from the basement to each unit individually and would provide early warning in the event of a fire-related emergency. Number 7, the petitioner has indicated that the tenants have access to the basement. Number 8, the building code official has indicated that there is no tenant storage and only laundry facilities. Number 9, the petitioner has indicated that the door into the basement is metal and self-closing and possibly not fire rated. Number 10, the petitioner has stated that there are 3 smoke detectors in the basement that are interconnected each floor. There may be 3 separate smoke detection systems. Number 11, the code enforcement official for the city of Schenectady was not present during the hearing, but has indicated support for the variance and has indicated that the system is hardwired and interconnected and has a self-closing and fire-rated basement door. Conclusion of law. The proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the law's provision for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance would entail practical difficulties, unnecessary hardship, but would otherwise be unwarranted because such would be unnecessary in light of alternatives which, without the loss of level of safety, achieve the intended objective of the law. Determination, therefore, is determined that the applicant for the variance for Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, be and hereby granted with the following conditions: that the interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide detectors be provided and located throughout the building as required by current code, that the property owner shall hire a third-party independent code-certified inspection agency to test the alarm system annually at a minimum, and shall submit inspection results to the City of Schenectady Building Department. Inspection reports shall also be left on site and be readily available for the inspector. Number 3, that the smoke and carbon monoxide devices shall be interconnected together as one system and in conformance with NFPA 72. Number 4, that any entrance door and every door opening into the entrance hallway, stair hall, or other public hall interconnected there within shall be self-closing. Number 5, that the door leading into the basement shall be fire rated and self-closing. Number 6, that no tenant storage be allowed in the basement. Number 7, that the 3 individual smoke detectors in the basement be combined into one detector. And for negative declaration of short EAF for board of review, that the board of review finds and determines that the issuance of a variance in petition 2024-0201 will not have a significant environmental impact and will not have a significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resource of the statewide significant important agricultural land, or the area indicated in an approved local waterfront revitalization program. And number 2, that the Department of State be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Board of Review and the Department of State, the State Environmental Quality Review Act short environmental assessment form indicating that no or small impact may occur in response to each question in part 2 of the form, and determine that in part 3 of the form that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. So I'd like to have a motion from the board.
This is Laura, I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion, Ms. Jackie.
Now I will poll the board members. Ms. Ryder?
Yay.
Mr. Behringer?
Yay.
Ms. Coombs?
Yay.
And Andy Ellis, yay. So we have 4 yeas and 0 nays. This decision is limited to specific and building and application before it and contained within the petition, and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. Acting Chairman Andy Ellis and board members Laura Ryder, Jackie Coons, and Jared Behringer all concur. And this completes our case. We'd like to go off the record.
On the record.
We'll now hear the petition 2024-2091. Or 20, I'm sorry, 2024-0290 is our second hearing. And this hearing is a matter petition Property Pro Realty Group, Inc. The nature of the grievance and relief sought, petition pertains to existing building containing an R2 occupancy, 3 stories in height, type 5B wood framed unprotected construction located at 32 North Ferry Street, City of Schenectady, County of Schenectady, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceiling, which states that in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling is cellar or the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or equipped with a sprinkler system unless such ceiling has already been plastered with satisfaction of the department. Petitioner requests relief from the requirement that the fire retarded ceiling or sprinkler system be provided in the cellar of the dwelling. At this point, I'd like to open up to the petitioner to state their relief.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Jacob Cook. I'm from the law firm of Shichetti Tabor. We're located at 800 Troy Schenectady Road, Latham, New York, 12110. Our office represents Redburn Stockade LP, the owner of the building. Also with us today is Alexander Buell, Principal of Property Pro Realty Group, the petitioner, and the property manager for 32 North Ferry Street, and Elizabeth Young Jojo, the president for Redburn Stockade LP, the owner of 32 North Ferry Street. We're here this morning to seek variance from enforcement of Multiple Residence Law Section 30 with respect to the installation of fire retardant cellar ceilings or sprinkler systems. We are seeking a variance from this because this is an old building within the Stockade Historic District in Schenectady. It was built in 1906. It has 3 stories, 9 total dwelling units. There are no dwelling units in the basement of this property. The reason why we're seeking the variance here is because there's electrical and mechanical and plumbing systems all throughout the basement of this building, and they're all affixed to the ceiling in the basement. In order to plaster or install a sprinkler system, it would be physically impractical given the location of the mechanical systems that are all running along the ceiling of the basement. It's physically impossible, both of that, and practically very difficult. We believe with alternative means and with alternatives that we're proposing here today, that the same objective of building safety within the building can still be achieved. Namely that with the installation of interconnected smoke detection and heat detection systems throughout the building, that early warning of fire from the basement can be communicated to all the residents within the building. And I would note a couple things for the board here today. One, there are a few fire mitigation systems that have already been installed in this building. There are interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide detectors that are already installed, meaning in the event there's a fire in the basement, all of the floors in the building will be notified. There is a boiler room that encloses the boiler for the building and the hot water tanks. There's fire rated drywall and plaster and caulking throughout the room, and a self-closing metal door to that specific room. It's a specific room within the basement that's segregated from the remainder of the cellar. There's also a fire rated self-closing door that leads to the cellar from the interior of the building. I would note simply that so as far as the alternative that we're proposing that this interconnected heat system. We're proposing that we already have that installed, that we have the self-closing doors installed, and for the board's reference, we have 3 properties here today that are in front of the board for the same variance. We're before the board for 2 other properties for the same variance. We'll be before the board for a few other properties for the same variance. So we've agreed to some of these conditions, or some conditions already, including the third-party inspection from the city, or from a third-party inspector that will be provided to the city and remaining on the premises. That's not an issue for the building owner here. And I would also note that there have been conditional variances granted for other properties owned by the same owner. To give some clarity and some reference to the board here, Reverend Stockade owns a portfolio of properties within the Stockade district in Schenectady. There's approximately 20 properties that they own. 3 of those properties have been granted variances from Section 30 already with similar conditions. For the record, those application numbers are 2019-0036, 2024-0281, and 2024-0288. Lastly, I would just note that in the city's questionnaire, the city of Schenectady's code enforcement questionnaire, they've indicated that they support the issuance of this variance. I won't put words into Mr. Rafalek's mouth. I know he's in attendance here today. If he has any other comments, we'd be happy to hear them. At this time, if the board has any questions or any clarifications that they would like, we'd be happy to answer those questions.
I'd like to open up the board members for questions. This is Andy from the board. Can you give us, there's 9 units in this building and 3 stories. You can kind of give us an idea of the layout of the building and if there's 2 means of egress for each unit?
Sure. Mr. Buell, would you be able to answer the property-specific questions for the board?
I absolutely can. So, hello, my name is Alex Buell with Property Pro Realty Group. On the first floor, there are 4. Pardon?
Alex, you're all broken up. Can you please state your name, legal address for the court reporter?
Sure. Is this better, sir?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. My name is Alex Buell. I am principal at Property Pro Realty Group. Our address is 51 Broad Street, Waterford, New York, 12188.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so in this particular property, there are equal amount of residential units on each floor, and they are stacked accordingly all the way up. There are fire escapes that are present, and there is access to ingress and egress out of all units.
This is Jared from the board. Is it a single stairwell? Like a single hallway, and then they use the second means of egress would be the fire escapes?
That is correct.
This is it. Oh, go ahead.
This is Jackie from the board. So in that single hallway, is there smoke detector located in that hallway? And then there's separate smoke detectors in each unit?
That is correct. In all of the common areas, there are interconnected smokes and carbon monoxide, as well as fire extinguishers. And I have provided photographs in what we submitted. In the fire extinguishers that are throughout the common areas in all of our properties, we use a third-party system that checks and certifies them every 12 months as well.
So the common areas in this building are the main hallway where the tenants enter to go to their apartments, and then also the basement?
Yes, they are. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
This is Laura from the board. So does that mean that the individual apartments themselves are not connected to the interconnected system? So if something happens in the basement, notification occurs in the hallway, but not in the individual apartments. Is that correct?
That is not correct. They are all interconnected.
And so it, again, just around interconnection. So if and on the first floor burns toast and sets off the alarm, everybody hears it. It goes off throughout the building.
Everyone would be notified.
Hi, this is Robert Rafalik with the City of Schenectady. How are you?
Morning, Robert.
Quick question. I do believe that some of the carbon monoxide alarms are not interconnected. Do all of the carbon and smoke, every single alarm needs to be interconnected in the building?
I don't believe the carbons do. I'm going to check that.
I don't believe they do.
I think the interconnection is just.
Just smokes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is to my understanding that the carbons are not interconnected through the apartments, and it was also to my understanding that that was not a condition. And it sounds like that is correct.
Right. I don't think the carbons are interconnected, but the smokes certainly are.
And it looks like from the photos, all the heating equipment is in the basement, so there are no fuel burning appliances like heaters or anything in the individual apartments. The furnaces are, everything's in the basement.
That is correct.
This is Andy from the board. I see in one of the photos that there's laundry facilities for the tenants. Is there any storage in the basement for the tenants?
In this basement, it is not set up for storage, but there is, however, laundry facility that is confirmed.
I have no further questions. Any board members have questions?
No.
Do we have anyone with any additional comments?
Hi, this is Robert with the city again.
Yes.
So the carbons in the basement, they do not have to be interconnected. Battery operated carbon in the basement will suffice.
Yes, as long, if there was not anything that was already hardwired, then it would, they just have to have the 10-year battery backup.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking up fire code 91553,
That's
and
what I just looked up too.
it says if interconnection is not required where battery operated or direct plug-in, so if they can be interconnected, then they have to be, but the code doesn't require him to create an interconnected network.
Thank
But
you
if
for
they
the
are-
clarification.
If they're older units, you may want to think about replacing them with a 10-year battery.
Right. So I think carbon is every 7 years and smoke is 10. But understood. Thank you.
Somewhere, but in other words, it's a 10-year battery. So.
So at this time, the board would like to go into deliberation and go off the record.
On the record.
The board is back in petition number 2024-0290. Upon hearing the application of Property Pro Realty Group, Inc., and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noted hearing before the Capital Region Albany Board of Review, this hearing is held via video conference call, WebEx, following location: 1 Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, conference room 505, Albany, New York, on July 17th, 2024. And upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. The nature of the grievance and relief sought: the petition pertains to an existing building containing an R2 occupancy, 3 stories in height, type 5B wood framed unprotected construction, located at 32 North Ferry Street, City of Schenectady, County of Schenectady, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. Petitioner requests relief from the requirement that the fire retardant ceiling or sprinkler system be provided in the cellar of the dwelling. Findings of facts: number 1, that the building that is the subject of this petition is properly classified under 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 433, as a multiple dwelling. Number 2, the subject building is approximately 4,981 square feet in gross area and was originally constructed around 1906 and contains 9 dwelling units. Number 3, the subject building is required to conform with the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 25, and that it existed on July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling after July 1st, 1952, and is not a hotel or similar dwelling subject to the Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. Number 4, Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law requires in each such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or the lower story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. Number 5, the lowest story or cellar ceiling of the multiple dwelling is not enclosed with fire retardant material and does not contain a sprinkler system. A fire in the cellar could easily spread throughout the building before it is noticed. There is mechanical system piping and electrical wiring along the ceiling of this unoccupied cellar, which would make installing a fire retardant ceiling very difficult. Number 6, as an alternative to compliance with Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law, the applicant has stated they have installed a hardwired interconnected smoke detection alarm system interconnected from the basement to each unit individually and would provide early warning in the event of a fire-related emergency. Number 7, the petitioner and the code enforcement official has stated that the existing carbon monoxide detectors are not interconnected in a standalone system. Number 8, the petitioner has indicated that the door to the basement is fire rated and self-closing. Number 9, that the petitioner has stated that there is one interior set of stairs and that all the units have a secondary fire escape. Number 10, the code enforcement official for the city of Schenectady was present during the hearing and has indicated support for the variance. Number 11, petitioner has stated that all common hallways areas have fire extinguishers are inspected annually. Number 12, the petitioner has stated that there's laundry facility in the basement and no storage for the tenants. Conclusion of the law: the proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the law's provision for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance would entail practical difficulties, unnecessary hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would be unnecessary in light of alternatives, which, without the loss of level of safety achieved in the intended objective of the law. Determination: Wherefore it is determined that the applicant for the variance from chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30B, and here is hereby granted for the following conditions. Number one, that the interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide be provided and located throughout the building as required by current code. Two, that the property owner shall hire a third-party independent code certified inspection agency to test the alarm system annually at a minimum, and shall submit its inspection results to the City of Schenectady Building Department. Inspection reports shall be left on site and be readily available for inspection. Number three, that all smoke detector devices shall be interconnected together as one system and in conformance with NFPA 72. Number four, that any entrance door and every door opening into any entrance hall, stair hall, or other public hall connected there within shall be self-closing. Number five, that the door leading into the basement shall be fire rated and self-closing. Number six, the carbon monoxide detectors be maintained as required by the current fire code of New York State. Number seven, that there be no tenant storage in the basement. And now read for the negative declaration for a short EF for the Board of Review. Number one, that the Board of Review find and determine that the issuance of a variance in petition number 2024-0201 will not have a significant environmental impact and will not have a significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resource of state significance, important agricultural land, or the area included in an approved local waterfront revitalization program. Number two, that the Department of State be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Board of Review. And the Department of State, A, the Environmental State Quality Review Act short, the environmental assessment form, indicating that no or small impact may occur in response to each question in part two of the form, and determining in part three of the form that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. So make a motion for the board. Ms. Ryder,
I'll make a motion.
or sorry.
Yes, I'll make a motion.
Not a second. Jared Behringer. I'd like to poll the board members. Ms. Ryder,
Yay.
Ms. Coombs,
Yay.
Mr. Behringer,
Yeah,
and Andy Ellis, yay. For the record, let the vote show we have 4 yeas and 0 nays. This decision is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. Acting Chairman Andy Ellis and board members Laura Ryder, Jackie Coons, and Jared Behringer all concur. Completes this hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Our case 3 is petition number 2024-0291. Nature of the grievance and relief sought. The petition pertains to an existing building containing an R2 occupancy, 3 stories in height, type 5B wood framed unprotected construction located at 33 North Ferry Street, City of Schenectady, County of Schenectady, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height, ceiling of the cellar or the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retardant and be equipped with a sprinkler system unless such ceiling has already been plastered with satisfaction of the department. Petitioner requests relief from the requirement that the fire retardant ceiling and sprinkler system be provided in the cellar ceiling of the dwelling. And at this point, I ask the petitioner to state their case.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jacob Cook from the law firm of Shinketi Tabor. We're located at 800 Troy Schenectady Road, Latham, New York, 12110. We're appearing on behalf of the building owner, Redburn Stockade LP. Also here today is Alexander Buell, principal of Property Pro Realty Group, the petitioner in this application. Property Pro is the property manager for the 33 North Ferry Street. Also here is Elizabeth Young Jojo, president of Redburn Stockade LP, the owner of 33 North Ferry Street. As mentioned in the preamble, we are seeking a relief from, or seeking a variance from the multiple residence law section 30 and the requirement to install fire retardant ceilings or a sprinkler system in the basement of 33 North Ferry Street. We're seeking this variance because 33 North Ferry Street, it's an old historic building in the Stockade district of Schenectady. It was built in 1906. 3 total stories, 5 total dwelling units. Notably, there's no dwelling units in the basement of this property. We're seeking this variance because there's all throughout the basement here, there's electrical, mechanical, and plumbing systems that line the ceiling of the basement and to service the entire building. Installation of a fire rated or fire retardant ceiling or sprinkler system within the basement of this building would be very difficult to do. It would be really physically impractical to do in these basements. And so we're looking to propose an alternative to the board here. We believe that with the alternative that we're proposing, that the objective of multiple residence law section 30 for the life and safety of the building can still be achieved. That objective being early notice to the tenants or the residents of the building in the event of a fire. We would propose that there would be interconnected smoke alarms throughout the building so that in the event of a fire in the basement, all of the occupants of the building would be notified, and in the event of a fire in any of the other common areas or dwelling units within the building, all of the other residents would be notified as well. I would note that this building already contains an interconnected system. We'd also propose that there would be self-closing doors leading to the basement and the boiler room. We propose that these doors also be fire rated. Currently, there are fire rated self-closing metal doors leading into the basement of this building from the first floor common area. And there's also a boiler room that has been constructed within the basement that has a self-closing fire rated door and has fire rated sheetrock and caulking throughout the boiler room. Within the boiler room, there's the boiler and the hot water heaters. We, as a third part of the alternative that we're proposing, we would also agree to perform the third party inspections and provide the results of those inspections to the city annually. We, as I mentioned, there's already some fire mitigation systems that have been installed in this building. The cellar doors, as I mentioned, are already self-closing and fire rated. The boiler room is separated from the rest of the basement, so it is fire rated, and the smoke detectors are interconnected. I would note that similar variances have been granted for other buildings owned by the same property owner within the city of Schenectady and within the Stockade Historic District. Those variances have been granted at 21 Front Street, 9 Union Street, 11 North Church Street, and 32 North Ferry Street. We have received, I believe in the file, there is a questionnaire from the code enforcement official. The city has indicated to us within that questionnaire that they support the request for the variance here. Lastly, I'm gonna turn it to Mr. Buell to give a brief summary of the building and the layout of the building, and indicate whether there's laundry in the basement and or tenant storage. Alex, would you be able to answer those questions?
Yes, absolutely. This is Alex Buell, principal of Property Pro Realty Group, 51 Broad Street, Waterford, New York, 12188.
So Alex, yeah, can you give us a brief summary of the building, just kind of the general layout?
Sure, of course. Upon walking into this building, the first floor houses 4 apartments, and they're equally dispersed above that. In the basement, as you open a self-closing metal door, walk down into the basement, and the tenants would have access to laundry facilities in said basement. Now, currently, there are areas that tenants are using for storage, but that is something that we would also be happy to terminate as well.
I would just note, thanks, Alex. I would just note to the board that since there is tenant storage currently and understanding the conditions that have been placed on similar variances in the past, we would certainly, and the owner will be agreeable to stopping or to not permitting any further tenant storage within the basement. Alex, are there means of egress, secondary means of egress for every apartment unit?
There are secondary means of egress, and the ingress is through a single center stairway.
Great, thank you. I believe that covers everything that I would like to present to the board. We'd be happy to field any questions that you have at this time.
I'd like to open up the board members for questions.
Laura on the board, so you said there's a single central stairway, that's the primary egress. Is there secondary egress? Did I miss that? Are there fire escapes or is there a second stair?
I'm sorry. So as the main ingress would be from the center stair, and then there are fire escapes for emergency egress purposes.
So each apartment has access to a fire escape.
Yes.
This is Jared from the board. So the pictures that were submitted were showing some carbon monoxide detectors. So are they in addition to some combination detectors, or is all the carbon monoxide detection separate at this location?
All of the carbon monoxide detection are battery operated separate units at this location.
Not interconnected.
They are not interconnected, correct?
So is this a similar system as the other building? So it's the, smokes in the basement are tied to every single apartment everywhere. And again, fire on a level other than the basement would also trigger all the devices.
That is correct. A very similar system.
We have building code official. Do we have any comments from City of Schenectady?
Hi, this is Robert with the City of Schenectady. I have no further input to the descriptions of the existing property.
Thank you. So at this time, the board will go into deliberation. Please bear with us. We'd like to go off the record.
On the record.
And this is for petition number 2024-0291. And upon the application of Property Pro Realty Group, Inc., and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noted hearing before the Capital Region Albany Board of Review. This hearing was held via video conference call, WebEx at the following location: 1 Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, Conference Room 505, Albany, New York, on July 17th, 2024. And upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. Nature of the grievance and relief sought. The petition pertains to an existing building containing an R2 occupancy, 3 stories in height, of type 5B wood framed unprotected construction located at 33 North Ferry Street, City of Schenectady, County of Schenectady, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or the lower story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a fire sprinkler system unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. Petitioner requests relief from the requirement that the fire retarded ceiling or sprinkler system be provided in the cellar of the dwelling. Finding of the facts. Number 1, the building that is the subject of the petition is properly classified under 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 433, as a multiple dwelling. Number 2, the subject building is approximately 4,005 square feet in gross area and was originally constructed around 1906 and contains 5 dwelling units. Subject number 3, the subject building is required to conform with the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 25, and that if it existed on July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling after July 1st, 1952, and is not a hotel or similar dwelling subject to Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. Number 4, Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law requires in each such dwelling 3 stories or more in height, ceiling of the cellar or the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. Number 5, lowest story cellar ceiling of this multiple family dwelling is not enclosed with fire retardant material and does not contain a sprinkler system. Fire cover could easily spread throughout the building before it is noticed. There is mechanical system piping and electrical wiring along the ceiling of this unoccupied cellar, which would make installing a fire retardant ceiling very difficult. Number 6, as an alternative to compliance with Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law, the applicant has stated they have installed a hardwired interconnected smoke detection alarm system interconnected from the basement to each unit individually, and it would provide early warning in the event of a fire-related emergency. Number 7, the petitioner has stated that the existing carbon monoxide detectors are not interconnected and are a standalone system. Number 8, the petitioner has indicated the door into the basement is fire rated and self-closing. Number 9, petitioner has stated that there is one interior set of stairs and that all units have a secondary fire escape. Number 10, code enforcement official for the city of Schenectady was present during the hearing has indicated support for the variance. Number 11, the petitioner has stated that there is laundry facility in the basement. Number 12, petitioner has stated that there is storage for tenants in the basement, but is willing to terminate that option. Conclusion of the law. The proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the law's provision for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance would entail practical difficulties, unnecessary hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would be unnecessary in light of alternatives without the loss and level of safety achieved with the intended objective of the law. Determination. Wherefore, it is determined that the applicant for the variance from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30B, and is hereby granted with the following conditions. Number 1, that the interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide detector be provided and located throughout the building as required by current code. Number 2, that the property owner shall hire a third-party independent certified inspection agency to test the alarm system annually at a minimum and shall submit inspection results to the City of Schenectady Building Department. Inspection reports shall also be left on site and be readily available for inspection. Number 3, that all smoke detector devices shall be interconnected together as one system and in conformance with NFPA 72. Number 4, that any entrance door and every door opening into any entrance hall, stair hall, or other public hall connected there within shall be self-closing. Number 5, that the door leading into the basement shall be fire rated and self-closing. Number 6, carbon monoxide detectors be maintained as required by the current fire code in New York State. Number 7, that there'll be no tenant storage in the basement. For the negative declaration or short EAF for the Board of Review. Number 1, that the Board of Review find and determine that the issuance of a variance petition number 2024-0291 will not have a significant environmental impact and will not have a significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resource of the statewide significance, important agricultural land, or an area included in an approved local waterfront revitalization program. And number 2, that the Department of State be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Board of Review and the Department of State, A, the State Environmental Quality Review Act short, the environmental assessment form indicating that no or small impact may occur in response to each question in Part 2 of the form, and in determining in Part 3 of the form that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. We have a motion from the board.
Motions.
May I have a second?
Second.
Jared Behringer. I'd like to poll the board members. Ms. Ryder,
Yay.
Ms. Coons,
Yay.
Mr. Behringer,
Yay.
and Andy Ellis, yay. Let the record show the vote is 4 yeas and 0 nays. This decision is limited to the specific building and application before it, as contained within the petition, and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. Acting Chairman Andy Ellis and board members Laura Ryder, Jackie Coons, and Jared Behringer all concur. Completes case number 2024-91. And move on to our final case. The same petitioner. Petition number 2024-0292. The nature of the grievance and relief sought, this petition pertains to an existing building containing an R2 occupancy, 3 stories in height, type 5 the wood framed unprotected construction located at 58 Washington Avenue, City of Schenectady, County of Schenectady, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. The petitioner requests relief from the requirement that the fire retarded ceiling or sprinkler system be provided in the cellar of the dwelling. And at this point, I'd like to ask the petitioner to state their case.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jacob Cook from the law firm of Shickety Tabor. We're located at 800 Troy Schenectady Road, Latham, New York, 12110. We're the attorneys for Redburn Stockade LP, the owner of the building. Here with me is Alexander Buell from Property Pro Realty Group, Inc. They are the property managers for 58 Washington Avenue. Also here on the call is Elizabeth Young Jojo, the president of Redburn Stockade LP, the owner of 58 Washington Ave. We're here to seek a variance from enforcement of Multiple Residence Law Section 30 and the requirement to install fire retardant cellar ceiling or sprinkler systems within 58 Washington Avenue. We are looking for this variance because it's an old building located within the Stockade Historic District in Schenectady. It has electrical, mechanical, and plumbing systems all along the cellar ceiling that they're installed on the cellar ceiling and run throughout the cellar of the building. And removal of those systems or relocation of those systems in order to install a cellar ceiling or a sprinkler system to comply with Section 30 would be very difficult and costly to perform. It would be physically impractical to perform in most of this building, and so we're seeking a variance because with some alternatives, we believe that the purpose of the law can still be achieved. That purpose being the safety of the residents of the building and an early notification of a fire should it occur. A couple notes about the building. It was built in the early 1700s. There's no dwellings in the basement, total of 6 dwellings within the building altogether. We would propose some alternatives to the requirements of the law. Namely, there would be a interconnected heat detection and alarm system throughout the entire building. By interconnected, we mean that the detectors in the basement would alarm all of the other floors of the building and the dwelling units of the building should a fire occur in the basement. Similarly, if there were a fire to occur in one of the upstairs floors or common areas, the remaining dwelling units would also be notified. Currently, there is an interconnected system installed in this property, and so that's already been satisfied. Secondly, we would propose as an alternative that the doors to the basement area be self-closing fire-rated metal doors. These have already been installed in the property. Within the basement, there is a separate area for the boiler and hot water tanks. That area has been segregated from the rest of the basement and has fire-rated caulking and sheetrock surrounding the area. It also the boiler room also has a self-closing fire-rated metal door to enter that space. This, I believe, and Alex can speak to this in a little bit more detail. I believe that the door leading from the boiler room in this basement also is self-closing to the remainder of the basement. The last reasonable alternative that we would propose is the third-party inspections, similarly to the other conditions that have been granted here today on other applications. We would note for the record that conditional variances have also been granted for other properties owned by the same owner within the same neighborhood within Schenectady. Those properties would be 21 Front Street, 9 Union Street, 11 North Church, 30 North Ferry, and 33 North Ferry. They've all been granted variances from this section with similar conditions. At this time, Alex, could you give us a summary of the layout of the building? We can get an idea of how, so the board can have an idea of the access to the basement and the access to the rest of the dwelling units. And can you also let us know if there's laundry in the basement and tenant storage?
Absolutely. This is Alex Buell, Property Pro Realty Group. Our address is 51 Broad Street in Waterford, New York, 12188. 58 Washington Avenue is broken up into two sections. The front building, you walk in the front door, there are 2 dwelling units on floor 1. And then above those, in the next 2 floors, there's 1 unit on each.
Alex, you're broken up.
All of the
You're not-
laundry facilities for the apartments in this building.
Alex. We are not
Okay.
able to hear you.
Would you like me to start over?
Yes, please.
We heard as far as the first floor has 2 apartments in the front.
Yes, sir. Okay.
If you're speaking, we are not hearing you.
Okay. Is this better?
Yes.
Yes,
Thank you.
Is this better?
Yep.
yes.
Oh, jeez. I am speaking. Okay, maybe we had a glitch in the service. Okay, so the first floor has 2 units, and the floors above them have 1. All of the laundry facilities at this particular property
Hey,
are
Alex.
It's
located
not working.
It's still not working.
inside. None
Everything
are
is
in
broken
the
up.
basement. There's also another apartment.
Hey, Alex?
I'm sorry, I haven't moved since we started this hearing. Jeez.
So Alex, can you please start over? We have not been able
Is
to.
this any
really-
better?
Now, yeah.
For now, yeah.
Okay, my apologies. And just so you know, I have not moved since we started this hearing, so.
Not a problem.
We believe you.
Okay. As you walk into the front building located at 58 Washington, what I would call the main building, there are 2 apartments on the first floor. And then above them, there are 2 more floors with 1 unit each. All of the laundry facilities at this building are located in the main building. There are no laundry facilities in the basement at 58 Washington. In addition to that, if you go down the driveway in the rear of the building, there is another entrance that houses the last apartment. And they also have laundry contained inside of that apartment as well. As you go into the basement, you walk down a stairwell, and you are greeted to the right by a metal self-closing door, which opens up into that contained room that Jacob had mentioned that contains the heating and the hot water components. Across the hallway, there's another metal door that will go into the main part of the basement. In this particular basement, there is no reason for the tenants to be in there. We do not offer storage, nor have I seen anything down there belonging to any tenants or any tenants having business in that basement.
Alex, thanks. Hey, is there a second means of egress for each unit?
There are second means of egress for each unit. On the first floor, they have an exterior back door that leads into a common patio, and the other units have access to a fire escape system.
Thank you. At this time, I don't have anything further to present to the board. If there are any questions from the board, we'd be happy to answer them.
I'd like to open up to the board for questions.
This is Laura on the board. I do have a question. Jacob, when you were given the summary, you said an interconnected heat detection. Did you mean smoke detection?
I meant smoke
Or
detection.
is it truly heat?
I meant smoke detection. Yeah, thank you for the chance to
Okay.
clarify that.
This is Andy from the board. Is that wired or wireless?
Alex, can you elaborate on that?
They are wired.
And again, separate CO detection. That's not interconnected. Only the smoke detection is interconnected. Right?
Yes, ma'am, that is correct.
So the CO is just individual battery operated devices.
That is correct.
Also, I believe that the words used to describe the door down to the basement was metal and self-closing. Do we know if it is or is not fire rated? They're not, metal doors are not always fire rated, so do we know if it is?
I'm sorry. There are actually two fire rated self-closing doors to that room because there's a way of ingress and egress. It's just the way that the basement is set up.
Okay, I think what we're mainly wondering about is the door like that separates the first floor from the basement. So whether that's at the top of the stairs or at the bottom of the stairs, is that a fire rated door?
It is at the bottom of the stairs, and yes, it is fire rated.
Okay.
Now, the door, if memory serves me correctly, the door that goes down the stairway to the basement, it is not fire rated. However, you can only access it from the exterior of the building, so it did not need to be fire rated to my understanding.
So this is Jackie from the board. So in your pictures that you submitted, this wood door with the glass panel in it, that's the exterior door that goes directly outside. Then you go down the stairs and then there's another metal door.
That is correct.
So the pictures of the metal door that you submitted, that's the metal door between the different sections of the basement that you mentioned?
Yes.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there should be two metal doors that lead to the boiler room. One, when you enter the boiler room from the bottom of the exterior staircase, and then another door that would lead from the boiler room to the remainder of the basement.
Correct.
And that's the exterior entrance is the only way into the basement?
That is correct. And you walk out that into the driveway.
I'm sorry, Alex, we only got one word of that.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
you exit that door into the driveway.
Okay.
Yes, this is kind of a cool, it's an interesting setup for this building. The building is on the street, and then you kind of go under an archway that leads you into the back yard of the building, and then that's where the patio is, the back parking lot, and then the exterior stairway to the basement.
Yes, and this particular building has a lot of history, and We have a sign out front that George Washington stayed the evening in this particular building. So it is definitely a very cool place.
And do we have any other questions from the board? Do we still have a fire code official from the city of Schenectady on the call?
I don't believe we do, but I would note that, in case I didn't note this already for the record, that the code enforcement questionnaire does indicate that the city supports the variant here.
So at this time, we'll take a brief deliberation. We'd like to go off the record.
On the record.
And this is for petition number 2024-0292. On the application of Property Pro Realty Group Inc. and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noted hearing before the Capital Regional Board of Review. This hearing was held via video conference call, WebEx at the following location: One Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, conference room 505, Albany, New York, on July 17, 2024. And upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. Nature of the grievance and relief sought. The petition pertains to an existing building containing an R2 occupancy, 3 stories in height, of type 5B, wood framed, unprotected construction located at 58 Washington Avenue, City of Schenectady, County of Schenectady, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61 of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceiling, which states that in every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height of the ceiling of the cellar or the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. The petitioner requests relief from requirement that the fire retarded ceiling and sprinkler system be provided in the cellar of the dwelling. Findings of the facts. Number 1, that the building subject of this petition is properly classified under 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 433, as a multiple dwelling. Number 2, subject building is approximately 6,450 square feet in gross area, was originally constructed around 1710 and contains 5 dwelling units. Number 3, the subject building is required to conform with the provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided in Section 25, and that it existed on July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple family dwelling after July 1st, 1952. And is not a hotel or similar dwelling unit to Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. Number 4, Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law requires that in every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height, the cellar, ceiling of the cellar or the lower story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system, unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. Number 5, the lowest story cellar ceiling of this multiple dwelling unit, multiple family dwelling is not enclosed with a fire retardant material and does not contain a sprinkler system. A fire in the cellar could easily spread throughout the building before it is noticed. There is a mechanical system piping and electrical wiring along the ceiling of this unoccupied cellar, which make it installing a fire retardant ceiling very difficult. Number 6, as an alternative to compliance with Article 3, Section 30 of the Multiple Residence Law, the applicant has stated that they have installed a hardwired interconnected smoke detection alarm system interconnected from the basement to each unit individually and would provide early warning in the event of a fire-related emergency. Number 7, the petitioner has stated that the existing carbon monoxide detectors are not interconnected and a standalone system. Number 8, the petitioner has indicated that the only entrance to the basement is from the exterior of the building. Number 9, the petitioner has indicated that the doors into the basement are fire rated and self-closing. Number 10, the petitioner has stated that there is one interior set of stairs in the main building and that all units have a secondary fire escape. Number 11, the code enforcement official for the city of Schenectady was not present during the hearing, but has indicated support for the variance. Number 12, the petitioner has stated that there's no laundry facility in the basement. Number 13, the petitioner has stated that there is no storage for the tenants in the basement. Conclusion of law, that the proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the law's provision for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance would entail practical difficulties, unnecessary hardship, or would otherwise be unwarranted because such would be unnecessary in light of alternatives which, without the loss and level of safety, achieve the intended objective of the law. Termination. Wherefore, it is determined that the applicant for the variance from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of the New York State Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30B, and is hereby granted with the following conditions. Number 1, that the interconnected smoke and carbon monoxide detectors be provided and located throughout the building as required by current code. Number 2, that the property owner shall hire a third-party independent code certified inspection agency to test the alarm system annually at a minimum and shall submit inspection results to the City of Schenectady Building Department. Inspection reports shall also be left on site and be ready and available for inspection. Number 3, that all smoke detector devices shall be interconnected together as one system and in conformance with NFPA 72. Number 4, that the entrance door and every door opening into any entrance hall, stair hall, or other public hall connected there within shall be self-closing. Number 5, that the door leading into the basement shall be fire rated and self-closing. Number 6, that the carbon monoxide detectors be maintained as required by the current fire code in New York State. Number 7, that there be no tenant storage in the basement. Now, for the negative declaration for short EAF for the Board of Review, that the Board of Review find and determine that the issuance of the variance in petition 2092 will not have a significant environmental impact and will not have a significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resource of the statewide significance, important agricultural land, or area included in approved local waterfront revitalization program. And number 2, that the Department of State be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Board of Review and the Department of State, A, the State Environmental Quality Review Act short environmental assessment form indicating that no or small impact may occur in response to each question in part 2 of the form, and determining in part 3 of the form that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impact.
Can you just make a correction
Yeah.
on the door leading into the basement? Can you say one of the doors, because the top door is not the fire rated door, it's the bottom door, so you wouldn't wanna imply that you're adding a restriction that the top door be the fire door? Because this
Yeah.
one's kind of different from some of the others.
So
So he's got a fire door downstairs, you said, but the top door that is technically leading into the basement stairway is not the fire rated door, so just one of the doors? So that there's always a fire door there, whether it be at the bottom or the top, if he decides to change out the top one.
So number 5.
That,
we
yeah,
have-
instead of that the door, that one of the doors.
So make a correction and determination in number 5, that one of the doors leading into the basement shall be fire rated and self-closing.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So may I have a motion from the board?
Laura will make a motion. I'll second.
I'd like to poll the board members, Ms. Ryder,
Yay.
Ms. Coons,
Yay.
Mr. Behringer.
Yay.
And Andy Ellis, yay. And for the record, let the vote show 4 yeas and 0 nays. And this decision is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. Acting Chairman Andy Ellis and board members Laura Ryder, Jackie Coons, and Jared Behringer all concur. And that concludes our final hearing. And we would like to go off the record.